How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about Persona 3 Reload, and I just finished the game. It took me about 80 hours to finish, and let's talk about it. Now, this is not going to be an in-depth video, a super review on Persona 3. If you're looking for that kind of video, I'll go ahead and link some below, but this is more of I just finished the game. Let's nerd out, let's talk about it, let's have a fun discussion, and maybe we can compare notes. I don't know. If you haven't played the game, what are you doing here? Go and play the game. After you're done, come back and let's discuss, because this is gonna have hella spoilers. So I don't want to ruin it for anyone, because the game was a great journey. So go, I'll catch you later. And if you have played the game, let's hang out. I will be making a lot of references to Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royale, since those are the only two Persona games I have played in the past. Now, when it comes to Persona 3 Reload, this isn't the original. There were 3 games prior to this one. Persona 3 OG on the PS2, then there was Persona 3 Fez, also on the PS2, and then there was a Persona 3 Portable, which is now available for most consoles, especially the Switch, but I have not played that. I am a little sad that Persona 3 Reload did not come out for Switch, but luckily I have a PS5, so I was able to play it through there, and it was fun. I do enjoy the graphical jump of the PS5 from the Switch, but I do like the fact that I can play my Switch portably, which it would have been awesome to play P3 Reload in my bed or on my sofa when somebody's watching TV, or, you know, I just like the portability and the PlayStation like device that they have. I've seen many reviews and I'm not spending that money on getting a portable Wi-Fi. No. I think it's important to say that I've never played Persona 3 prior to Persona 3 Reload, so it took me 80 hours to complete. I think mainly because I've never played it before, so I wanted to take my time and really soak it in. But I think if you've played the Persona 3 games in the past, you might get through the game a little bit sooner. I think it's important, before we fully jump in, let's take a little walk down memory lane and just refresh our memory. Persona 3 takes place in 2009, and it is set in a Japanese city called Tatsumi Port Island. This island was created by the Correggio Corporation, and they built and funded this island. Experiments conducted 10 years prior to the game's events created the Dark Hour. This is a period which exists between days where strange things occur. On midnight, people end up in coffins, and shadows run free and wreak havoc. If you are directly impacted by one of these shadows, you will end up with apathy syndrome, which leaves you lethargic, confused, and no longer yourself. A shell of yourself. Apathy syndrome becomes a real problem, and this game shows the story of how the protagonist and his friends defeat the Dark Hour. And sorry if you hear a bunch of sounds. I got a little drinky poo in my hand, and these walls of this apartment are made of paper, so you will be hearing my neighbor stomp around. Oh, and before we start, there are spoilers. I know I've said it, but I'm gonna say it again, because if you're like hopping around the video, I don't want you to like ruin the story for yourself. So please, again, there are spoilers, and we're gonna split this into 2 sections. My liked parts of the game and my not so loved parts of the game. Let's go ahead and start with what I loved about this game, because I have many positive things to say about this game. It was probably one of my favorite Persona experiences. Now, I enjoy the fact that the story was darker than the other games in the series. Now, I also like that the game itself, the story was more comprehensible to deal with the main theme, which is death. And you get to see this theme come up over and over and over again. Mitsuru's dad's death, Yukari's mom and dad both dead. Ryoji, you get to decide whether you kill him or not. At the end, you get to pick whether or not everyone dies or just the main character and Ryoji dies. So you get to see this theme come up over and over and over again, because these are very hard topics, but they go through how each character deals with death and ways they moved on from death. So the main theme is death. I mean, you even see it with the evoker. How do they summon their personas? It's the main theme. Like, it's like the big center staple point of this game. But I do think that they handled it very well. And let's move on. The other thing I really liked about this game is that it was set in 2009. So it had like a throwback vibe. The protagonist with his Walkman. I liked that there wasn't as much technology in the game, so no texting back and forth between all the characters. Yes, you receive messages from friends and possible job opportunities, but you're not receiving text messages back and forth like Persona 5. I always found myself speeding through the text messages between the Persona 5 party because it's just boring. I don't want to read through text messages. Give me social links and give me voice acting. I don't care about the text messages. So I love the throwback aspect. Chef's kiss. I really enjoyed the design of the school. The most memorable part is the corridor with the persimmon tree. If I were to see an image of that corridor, I know exactly what I'm looking at. Where I feel as the other games, they didn't have like that wow factor in the school. I also really liked in P3 Reload that when you walk in, they have those very defining statues. And I also like the entrance of the school. That long walkway with those trees, I believe they're cherry blossom trees. It's just so beautiful. Where in Persona 5, it's just kind of like concrete and you can't even walk into the school. You have to kind of click into the school. This was a very seamless experience. I thought they designed a lot of areas. Very nice. I love the lighting. It's just a very pretty game. Also, let's talk about the animations. They were fire, creme de la creme. I feel like because Persona 3, they didn't have to build it from the ground up. They could focus more on things like animations and stuff, and I think it really shined. It really shined in this game, and I felt immersed. I also feel like the voice acting itself was really good, better than Persona 5's because they added more voice acting to the social links. So when you were grinding from 1 to 10, because holy crap, I feel like there are some ranks that go all the way to 10 here. At least you're getting to hear the character talk. So you're not like clicking through a bunch of dialogue that you're just tired, you're exhausted, you don't want to read anymore. This game fixes that. This is what I wanted. This is what I asked for after Persona 5. I wanted more voice acting and they came through and it really helped. It really helped. I love that they brought the cards back. I know Persona 5 didn't have any cards, but Persona 4 had the cards and those were so much fun. I played Persona 4 first and then played Persona 5 and that was something that I missed. And I'm just so freaking happy they brought them back. And it just made playing the game so much more fun. I love that you didn't have to ask the shadow to join your party. It was just a random draw of the cards. And I feel like the cards make battling in Tartarus so much more rewarding. I found myself wanting to battle because I wanted to keep shifting through the cards. I wanted the experience points, I wanted the shadows, I wanted to do the fusions, I wanted coins. It just depended what I wanted at the time. Tartarus was amazing. Whatever they did, the mechanics, the battling mechanics, it was buttery. Tartarus was in and out, the cards, it was just like the perfect marriage of everything. I love that they brought the skill cards back. It was definitely more of an incentive to battle where I felt in Mementos, I was constantly dodging shadows because I hated the battling in Mementos. I hated Mementos, hated it. And don't get me wrong, the palaces were really fun. It was just more of a fluid game loop. It was a buttery game loop and I love how they took a little bit of Persona 4, a little bit of Persona 5, and they were able to make Tartarus into this just amazing experience. I prefer Tartarus more than Persona 4's dungeons. I prefer it more than Mementos, but I think certain palaces were better than Tartarus. But I think for what Tartarus is, it was a great experience. I like how in every level, the music changes slightly. My favorite part of Tartarus would have to be like the colorful area. There's like rainbow colors all over the place and the music just becomes like punchier in a way. I really like that. Love Tartarus. Another great point is the music was bopping. I thought I loved Persona 5's music and Persona 4's music, but no. Persona 3 Reload takes the crown. I love when you're in Tartarus and you have that sound that like dun chika chika dun dun chika chika. You like it? You like it? But I love the music in Tartarus. I also love the music. I'm gonna butcher the name. Paulownia Mall. Loved that music. I could bop to that song all day long. And when you go into like the gun shop or you go into the pharmacy and stuff, that like little breakdown remix. Oh, it is so good. I am now listening to Persona 3 music on the side, like when I'm working or studying or just wanting to have my morning coffee. I listen to Persona 3 soundtrack. It's so good. Ooh, another big point is that I love Strega. Out of all the villains, I think Strega was the most memorable, the most menacing. I felt that the main evil villain, his design was really cool. And I like how they did not give a shit. They straight up did not give a shit whether they died or not. They were there for their mission. And they knew that if they stopped taking these drugs, they were gonna die anyways. And the end goal was to die. So they just straight up did not give a flying fuck. I love that about Strega. I feel like Shiho didn't hold enough weight. And even like the evil villain in P4, I forget, honestly. Totally forget. That's how much I remember of P4. Love Strega. I thought they were cool villains. I like how they have their own stories and you get to know a little bit more about the villains, you know. You get to know more about them. All right, let's keep going. I'm nerding out too much. My favorite social link is the unusual monk. I was always interested in hearing what he had to say. He was a grumpy old man. You would find him at the club, turning up. And I just liked that when you gave him asshole-ish responses, he would respond well to your asshole-ish response. Like, he didn't want to hear you be polite. He didn't want to hear you tiptoe around his questions. He wanted the straight up answers. And I felt like I experimented with his social link. Like, I would answer his questions in a nicer form and he would hate it. But when I was just like straight up with him or basically rude, he fucking ate that shit up. I really liked his social link because he provided a strong message. You know, he left his family because he was a grumpy old man. And then towards the end, he ended up reconciling with his family. And even though he's not at the club getting turned and shaken ass, he's still thinking of you. He called the club owner. He wants to know how you're doing. Like, I really liked this social link. And the reason why I like it so much is because I could personally connect to this relationship of having an elder person as a friend. So that was really, really cool. And what I like the most about it is that this elderly monk, he gave you some pieces of advice, but I feel like he was truly moved by the protagonist. So much so that he changed himself and went home and like looked for his family. And you know what? Now thinking about it even more, like he went home, and if you would have clicked like the easy way out ending, everybody would have died. So like he would have reunited with his wife and family before the human race was extinct. But still, I mean, since there are two endings, I don't know. Lots to think about. Food for thought. That's what I really like about this game. It's a lot of food for thought. I'm playing it for the second time. Yeah, I'm playing it for the second time. I love it that much. Now, I know that all of you are only here to hear me talk crap about this game. And we finally got to that point of the video. And let's go ahead and dive in head first. But before I do that, I'm gonna fill up my cocktail again because this is gonna get real spicy. Be right back. I got my little drink and now I'm ready to talk about what I didn't love about this game. Now, to start, the game, the first few months are kind of boring. I would consider these the tutorial months where they're teaching you about Tartarus and this and that and the mechanics, but it's a little boring. Now, another big thing I noticed is although I enjoyed the story a lot, there were moments where I felt like it just lacked explanation. Like these big life-changing events would happen to the protagonist or the friends of the protagonist, and I was just kind of left wondering or thinking what happened, what was the resolution, and I'll give you guys some examples of this. I wrote them down, but there was a moment where Mitsuru is crying over her dead father, and after that it just cuts to a black screen and then you guys are in the dorm. No animation of them walking back to the dorm or them consoling her, nothing. It's just left to your imagination. When you get to the dorm, it's not like you can talk to her. They do explain that she's like, needs space, I think, but there was another moment like when Chidori dies. When Chidori dies, you just go back to the dorm like nothing happens. In those moments, I wish, honestly, like there was more wrap up. Give me the follow up. I need to know everything through and through. Like after Chidori dies, the only thing I want to do is check on Junpei, make sure he's doing okay. But after she literally dies, you go back to the dorm and it's not even an option for you to talk to him or follow up with him. I need more follow-up. I need resolution. Like there's that scene where Aigis literally gets blown up and she goes away and she disappears for a little bit getting repaired. But I need more wrap-up. What happened? Where was she getting repaired? How was that process for her? Did she feel anything after getting basically blown up? And then she comes back to the dorm like nothing ever happened. Like, how did the characters all feel about her being gone? How did they feel about her exploding and basically breaking? Like, did they ever talk about what are we gonna do when Aigis comes back? No, there's like no wrap up, no follow up. I need those loose ends like sewn. I need them sewn. I need them sewn together. I also felt like the dialogue was a bit dry. I played Persona 5 right after Persona 3 because I just needed to get a little bit of comparison juice going. I just wanted to compare the two experiences. I was fresh off of P3 and now I'm just jumping back to P5. And P5, Persona 5 Royale, does a way better job with the social links and how they wrap scenes up. I will say, Persona 5, the story goes from point A to point G to point B to point L to point C to point, it's all over the place, the story. But they make sure that they are thorough and like every intricate detail of that game. In this game, I feel like a lot of major life things happen and then it's a black cutscene and c'est la vie. It's all up to your imagination what happens from there. I don't know if that was intentional or what, but I feel like there were moments where the dialogue felt a bit dry and maybe that's why I felt the desperate need for wrap up. Maybe it's just because of that. Maybe they just needed to freshen up the dialogue for it to go full circle. Yeah, the dialogue could have been a little more warm, more natural. My least favorite social link of all time has to be Fuka. Girl, nobody cares if you can cook rice or not. And that chubby kid in Polonia Mall. I can't stand that kid. The noises that kid makes makes me want to throw up. It's more of like if he was a real person, I'd never talk to him ever. And that made me never ever want to explore his social link. If he had cool like perks for like completing the social link, I don't care. The noises and the way he would call himself like the food king and just, he was just so cringe. Give me somebody else. I need a better social link. So another thing that I noticed is that there are not many places to visit. So towards the end of the game, I did find myself a bit bored. Now during the day, I don't think this is much of a problem because there are more places to visit, more social links to hang out with, and just more things in general, honestly. But at night is where you really feel the boredom because there's only about, what, 2 social links you can really unlock at night, and that's the unusual monk and that Tankana guy, which is da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. I love the shopping channel guy. I really do. I loved him ever since Persona 4. I loved it. I love the jingle. It's just so good. Chef's kiss. But I did find myself bored towards the end. There wasn't a lot of places to visit. So if there is going to be a new Persona game, hopefully they can give us a more expansive map, because even in Persona 5, although we had more places to visit, I still felt like there were moments where I'm like, I wish there was more. The game's great, but the social links can become a grind. And then if you already know all the places, towards the end, it's a bit boring. I will say the voice acting with the social links is really a game changer here. All right, let's talk about the price point. $70. I paid it. But I went probably 2 weeks without buying the game after its release. And I got so itchy to the point that I needed to buy it no matter what. So I used my credit card points to buy the game. Did I enjoy it? Yes, I really enjoyed it. Was it worth $70? No. But I understand with inflation and everything, it must have taken them a long time to make it. And there were a lot of life improvements in this game, but $70 price point is outrageous. And no, I have not bought the DLC because that's an additional $30-something on top, and it should have been included with the original game. That DLC should have been included with the original game. Period. I'm already paying $70. That's outrageously expensive. Now you're gonna charge me a DLC. I can't pay for it. I don't want to pay for it. No. All right. So I think those are all my negative reviews. Not that many this time around. Honestly, I thought I was going to have more, but I really enjoyed the game. And I like that it wasn't a 120-hour spectacle. It was just 80 hours, which made it a very digestible game. Now, in conclusion, did I like this game? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I love this game. It was great, I enjoyed it. I loved the way the game made me feel. I loved the blue, like, main color. I loved the edgy sexiness of the start menu. I love the protagonist. I think it's the coolest protagonist, the coolest villains we've had so far. It's just so good. I think Persona 3 Reload is more simple than Persona 4 and Persona 5. And I think the battling mechanics are just so delicious. And since the game is not as long as Persona 5, I feel like this is the kind of game you could 100%. Especially with Tartarus. The way it's just all set up, it's set up for you to play this game and 100% it. Like, it's really good. I feel like they have an award-winning formula for Persona 6. And just playing Persona 5, then Persona 3 Reload makes me super freaking hype about Persona 6. Now, I have heard some rumors that it's in the works. I can't confirm anything, can't deny anything either. I'm hyped, so I'm gonna try to be a little delulu and keep this in my head as P6 is coming, but you didn't hear it from me. Well, we've reached the end of the video and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave a thumbs up and let's discuss a little bit. What was your favorite part of Persona 3 Reload? Go ahead and leave a comment below. And did you buy the DLC? Is it worth it? Convince me. Maybe I'll do a little mini video on my thoughts on the DLC. But anyways, as always, subscribe.